Well, here we are, the home stretch. um, you know what? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have the election circus. Like I say, we'll be doing a live stream on Thursday night. Um, don't know how long we'll be going for, but we might go for as long as we can. But I'll let you know more close to the time. But we'll be doing a live stream that night, so you feel free to join us. It's going to be, I think, quite fun. But one of the worst points I think of that night could be, of course, if Farage wins Clacton. And I think a lot of people have been asking very, very recently, could Farage actually win in Clacton? And one of the funny things that might happen, bear in mind, one of the funny things that might happen is if you saw the recent Channel 4 undercover journalism that they did on Farage's campaign, one of the guys says that they've spent double in Clacton more than they should. Now, if they have done that, then Farage has broken electoral laws there. And that could land him in a spot of hot water even before he gets into Parliament. Not only that, we've known for quite a while that Farage is a kept man, meaning, people, should we say, people like Aaron Banks and etc. have been funding his lifestyle. Well, that has to end because, hey, as a MP, you have to declare all your earnings, any income that you have. So all Farage's income is going to be visible to everyone. And I think there's going to be a lot of people taking some very, very close eyes and looks at where Farage and who Farage is getting money from and what for. And I think he's going to have to ask a lot of very uncomfortable questions about that. But like I say, hopefully that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, Farage being in Parliament could actually be a massive, massive handicap for him. So as much as we don't want him to be in Parliament, he is going to face a lot of problems, I think. And obviously, if there's going to be a Labour majority, then don't get me wrong, they are going to go after him. Anything that happens, they're going to go after him and probably try and turf him out. And if he does break any ministerial code or anything like that, expect him to be turfed out very, very quickly. I think that is certainly going to be the plan because I don't think anyone really wants, honestly, him in Parliament. So, how long will he be there for? I don't think very long, to be honest. I don't think very long at all. Will he survive the full 4 years? I don't think so. I don't think he will survive a full term. But we will wait and see what happens on Thursday, of course. But today, we are going to sort of look at this question. What is going on in Clacton? Could he win in Clacton? And more importantly, what are people in Clacton saying about Farage? So, before we do get over onto that, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the One of Nation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And of course, you can click the like and share button as well. And of course, leave a comment down below. So, as always, let's crack on into this then, because the Guardian was asking this very, very same question as well. From Clacton to a Parliament pulpit, what's going on here? Why is he doing this? So, if we scroll down here, here we are. So the first one here was from Julia Stevenson, 61, who stood as a Green candidate in Kensington, Chelsea in London against Michael Portillo back in 2001, said that she was canvassing for Farage because she felt he had politics that would help Clacton and the country, saying Clacton is lovely when the sun is out, but many of the shops are shuttered and many of the arcades are empty. Nigel Farage wants to help these small businesses by cutting taxes, she said. Okay, so you cut taxes. My response would be to Julia, then what does the government do less of? Because you are going to be taking in less money, less revenue. But, there you go. The better, of course, option here would be to try and get the people who own those properties to lower the rent on them. That's what needs to happen, because that is what's putting many people off from renting these properties. And of course, sometimes footfall is an issue. Just because there is a prime piece of, shop doesn't mean anyone's going to move into that shop, because the entire area might be really bad, might be in desperate need of renovation. The arcade, as she says, might be absolutely awful. Maybe no one goes down it and would absolutely have no footfall. So even if someone did open a shop, it wouldn't survive because it wouldn't have any customers. But there you go. Anyway, she continues to say, reform will do a lot better than we've been led to believe, because people want change. We need a revolution in politics, and we need to shake everything up. Nigel Farage's entire manifesto is basically like Liz Truss on E. She would not appreciate, I'm pretty sure, Farage crashing the UK pensions industry like Liz Truss almost did. And remember, as we've said this, a lot of these wacky, kooky conservatives who are still like in that free market fundamentalist mindset want to take away the very powers that the Bank of England had to step in to stop that. So if Farage ever got in, ever made, a government and was leader, was prime minister, and he made these things would go incredibly bad. Like, Farage would crash the car. He would crash the economy so hard. And we've seen this multiple times. And whenever these far-right governments get in, they end up almost crashing the car, crashing the economy almost instantly. If you want a prime example, look what's happening in Argentina with Milei. You got all these people saying how fantastic Milei would be, how he's going to be absolutely amazing, and the economy of Argentina is going to go to the moon. It's going anywhere but the moon. It just keeps on going down and down and down. Inflation just keeps going up and up and up. But you've still got the true believers, those free market fundamentalists who are like, no, don't worry. It's going to work. It's going to be wonderful. Meanwhile, of course, he's taking economic advice from his dead dog through a seance. I'm sure that dog is giving amazing financial advice. I'm honestly, Argentina, please just get rid of him, please. Anyway, this continues. She said, of course, these racist comments made by the activists in the secret recordings by Channel 4 had brought tears to her eye, but she was suspicious about the circumstances. Channel 4 has said it stands by its rigorous and impartial journalism. That, I think, has had a lot of impact. I think that has had a lot of impact, because remember, after that, Farage has had to sack 3 other candidates, including the Barnsley North candidate. So, once again, the vetting for these people just has not been, done at all. But, of course, that was a whole thing as well. But, anyway. On to someone else. This is Stephen Friedlander, 58, and a taxi driver from Clacton. He had previously voted Conservative, but he says the party had lost his vote after he had considered it watered down its pledge of the leasehold reform. He bought a flat in Clacton for £110,000 in 2013 and faces a price running into the tens of thousands of pounds to buy the freehold. He insisted he now intended to vote reform, but has now had reservations over what he considers were disgusting racial slurs in the Channel 4 report, saying, "It makes me think that they really haven't got a grip on what their people are actually saying," he said. Freyland said they would not vote Conservative, but may consider supporting Liberal Democrats if he did not vote Reform. So that's someone who's not going to vote for Farage, which would be good. Robert Walgrove, the former newspaper guy on Fleet Street, who lives in Clacton, said that he was going to vote in the general election for the very first time and would be voting for Farage, saying that I feel that most politicians do not answer the questions. Nigel is straight talking and answers the questions, he said. I couldn't think of anyone couldn't think of anyone more unlike that who doesn't answer questions. Considering also now he's refusing to go on Question Time until the BBC apologise from him. So please, please, BBC, just don't apologise to him, and we might never see Farage on Question Time ever again. Oh, anyway, Tim Bale, the professor of politics at Queen Mary University of London, said Farage had a very similar Teflon quality to Donald Trump, Bale said. You have to say that Farage is one of the most consequential politicians in the last 2 or 3 decades. He cuts through to people in ways that other politicians find difficult to do. He's had a human. He has been a human hand grenade and crushing and crashing the campaign. Bale said that he thought Reform would actually struggle to become a major political party on its platform of populism, right wing policies, but Farage could become hugely influential and a figure by winning the seat in the House of Commons, saying that there will be some Conservatives who believe that the future lies in uniting with the right. That may be even welcoming him into the party. There will be absolutely some Conservatives who would see that as a complete anathema and will do everything they can to stop this happening. And if that happens, oh boy, that would be a incredible saga, because that would split the Tory party in two. If if the right somehow succeed in getting Farage in, then or if they don't, then two things are going to happen. Either A, that right is going to get booted from the Conservative Party, or they will leave it, or they will stay in the party and then fester their anger and probably try and oust whoever stopped it from happening, which again, more civil warring. Or maybe the moderates will fail. Farage somehow gets in. Again, numerous ways that could happen. We don't have time to go into that. But what do? They would leave the party, I think, in droves. In droves. And I think that would split the Conservative Party even more. So let's just finish it off with this. So John Moss, 73, a property developer and Reform UK supporter with UK and US citizenship, was in Clacton this weekend campaigning for Farage, who believes that he will win on Thursday. Moss said that Farage had, quote, already sealed his position in the history books over Brexit, would now, quote, crack Parliament. It will be a pulpit for him, he said, and I believe he will take maximum advantage over it. And that's what we should be really worried about, giving Farage that platform. But of course, remember, there are a lot of rules and regulations that would hinder Farage. He can't go out and say everything he wants because, again, Speaker of the House, probably going to be highly, highly against, Farage spouting off his stuff. That also is going to cause problems for Farage. But I don't think necessarily his popularity, if he does get into Parliament, is going to be overly successful, because again, you're going to have him on a major platform, and I think it's going to turn more people off than it will turn people onto him. Because eventually, there aren't enough Farages in the Reform Party, as we've seen, to run that type of multiple campaigns. Yeah, he might maybe succeed in getting a few people in over time, but it's not going to be enough ever to get a majority. Maybe you could see a position, maybe where they go, or at least maybe the Conservatives go into coalition with Farage. But even again, that will have its own problems. Farage will insist that he becomes prime minister or whatever. But that's a really wacky future that we don't want to see. But there you go. So as always, let me know what you think down below. What do you think is going to happen on Thursday? I think it could be close, honestly, in Clacton, but I hope he doesn't win, of course. And if he does win, well, Farage is going to encounter a lot of problems. The people of Clacton think that Farage is going to be good for Clacton, or that he's going to improve Clacton in any way, shape, or form. You're going to be about to be in a very, very big shock, because we know Farage ain't interested in Clacton. We know he ain't interested in really being an MP, especially a constituent MP as well. But of course, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.